Hi everyone and welcome to For Your Junk Journals. I am Deanna and today we're going to be putting together this cute little Christmas house folio kit. If you're interested in it, I will link to my Etsy store down below where you can find this. Now before we get into this tutorial, I do have a freebie for you guys. Now whether you guys think this goes with this kit or not, I'll leave that up to you. But I was working on another Christmas journal, junk journal, and I really wanted a Christmas dinner menu. So I was searching and I found this is from the New York Public Library. They have all kinds of public domain images, this being one of them, and all kinds of neat little things that you guys can add into your journal. So I highly recommend checking them out if you haven't already. But I found this one on there and I just thought it was so cute. I went ahead and I cleaned it up. I recolorized it. I tried to make the text a little bit easier to read. So I will put that in the link down below. And I'll also put a link to the original on the New York Public Library so you guys can look there if you want. As well as I have a small one here if you decide you want to use it in this journal. I did print one that would fit in there. I will say the text is a little hard to read. I don't know if it's my age or not. Definitely legible, just kind of hard to read. Now, to the tutorial. All right, so, messy. Okay, so this is a pretty big kit. As you can see here, there's tons and tons of pages. It's easier to see that way, yeah, in here. So make sure you got plenty of paper. With that being said, I print on 2 different kinds of paper. So when I originally designed this, I did print, I don't know exactly the poundage, but it was 160 GSM paper and it worked great. I am all out of that paper, so I had to print on some double-sided photo matte paper. This one is actually 200 GSM, and I will put everything down in the description box for you guys if you're curious on what I'm using during this tutorial. But this one is 54 pounds and it works great. So there's that. So cardstock. Then there's also going to be some on just regular printer paper. This one is 32 pound or 120 GSM printer paper. So there's that. The other thing I wanted to bring up before we get started is you can see here the score lines on these flaps were so hard to be able to see. So I went ahead and just added in some dotted lines for you guys. So if you're having a hard time seeing those, make sure to score along those before you cut it, and it will make it you'll make your life a little easier. Now some of these do recommend like double-sided printing, and I've put all the instructions on top here if you're curious on each page, like what I used and whether I printed double-sided or not. But I will say when it comes to the double-siding, you could probably get away with not printing double-sided on most of this. You could either use the ink or just leave it white. But for when this one flap, if you want to keep the cohesiveness of the look, you may want to you can either try your best to get it to print double-sided. But if it's not going to work, you can also print out a second copy of this and just cut this out, cutting the flaps off. And then you can just glue the white side to the white side, and that should take care of that. Now, what else was I going to say? Okay, so you can see here, I've tried to label everything for you guys. So this is flap A1, and I will put this in the directions if you purchase this from Etsy, but just to kind of explain it here. So there's 4 different flaps in this book. So this is A, B, C, then D. Now, if you're working on the inside, those are the number 2 ones. So when it says flap A1, that would be the outside. So this would be A1, B1, so on. And then A2, B2, so on. So I just wanted to explain that real quick, just in case. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to go over, for those of you guys that have Cricut machines, I also use the Cricut machine to cut out my fussy cut. So I did 3 pages here. All right, so if you are printing out your PDF and it's just the regular PDF, you won't see these lines. But what I have done is I went ahead and created a separate file in the Google Drive with PNG files. So this one is Cricut ready. I believe I got most of the kinks out when I was trying to get this to cut appropriately, you know, like the little miscellaneous contour things. There might be a couple left, but I think it should be fine. So I also put in the little dot or squares, so that way it cuts the appropriate size as well. So there is 3 pages of those, just the ones that have like the more intricate cuts on them. This one I went ahead and did 2 just because of this guy here. So, and then some of them I put borders on and some I did not. It depended on the actual image, whether I did or didn't. So yes, so you can find that in the Google Drive as well. Now I'm going to go through, I'm going to get all this stuff cut out, and I will be back in a couple minutes and we will get started. Okay, so I went ahead, I cut everything out, I inked what I could, and what I did when I was cutting it is I set it into piles. So this is pile A for the A flat, B, C, D, and then of course the fussy cuts and the tags are off to the side. So I didn't leave these little flaps. This one's a better example. Right there, you guys can leave those on or you can cut them off as you're cutting and just try to make sure to stay organized. For the most part, I think you guys can figure out which one goes to which, but just in case, I did leave it there for you guys. And if it's not connected to the piece, then it's noted somewhere on the actual paper for you. Now we are going to start with flap A, and this one does have a pretty small spine, so I know those are a little bit difficult to fold. I think it's like 1/8 of an inch. So, but yeah, so, all right, so this will be the first one we're starting on. It doesn't matter which one is top or bottom. Just take your pick, and we are going to attach the envelopes. Now, I like to keep my envelopes, or I'm sorry, not envelopes, my pockets. Sorry about that. I like to keep this will attach, the spine side will attach the actual folio. So I like to keep my pockets where it's easy to pull the stuff out. So this will be the opening where nothing's going to be on the side, so it makes it easier to pull things in and out. So I'm going to attach this one being my spine side, and I'll attach this one on this side. And I'm just using my glitter glue for these. It's really cold out today. We got rain. Well, you guys are probably gonna laugh at me because it's cold for where I live. But it's only, I think it's in the 40s today. Or as of right now anyways. And I try to keep it close to the spine side and down low, because these papers that are right next to me here will be going inside them. All right, we'll set this off to the side. And then for these, you can kind of decide which way you want to fold it. Okay, I like it this way. Now, if you have a way to put eyelets in, you guys can put eyelets in. I did that on my other one here. Let me show you. So I just put an eyelet in there, so you guys can do that if you want. But I did include little circles, so I will be using 3 of the circles, and I have some old twine here. I think I only did 3 last time, and I wish I would have did 4. So I'm gonna go with 4. Then I'm gonna add 1 more on top. Then I'm just going to glue the bottom half. And then I'm going to repeat the process. Oops, try to keep it center. Okay. Repeat the process for the second one. So once you have them glued on, you can just wrap it around. And I did it a little long. I should have only done part of that. But that's what you have there. And these will go right inside the pockets, just like that. All right, so now we are moving on to flap B. Now you will see two parts to B, B1 and B2. This one will have the hidden pocket, and then these one will have tags. So let's go ahead and do the tags first, or I'm sorry, the pockets first. Now for this one, I did put the the horizontal pocket on the top. You can do whatever you want, but just remember that sometimes when you're pulling things out of the pocket, it will actually get in the way of things. So for the design, I have it down here, and then this one up here. So I will glue this on. Now I forgot, but if you guys want to add tape right here, you can, just to stop it from grabbing. So I just use some Scotch tape, but you can use whatever tape you have. And then one more pocket. Now for me, I just try to go up towards the top of the roof. Put a little tape on there. Just like that. All right. So that one is done. Now we are going to move on to our house. And look at that, I put the wrong pieces in the wrong spot, Deanna. All right, so we are gonna get this one glued down. And once again, this will kind of benefit from using a little tape on the bottom. Now you definitely don't want too much glue because it will seep into your pocket and it won't work appropriately. So this one is going to align all the way to the bottom. And then a little tape. And fold this over. Trying to follow those lines on the frame of the house. I forgot to cut this off. That's okay. Okay, so now for the roof, I have these little lifters, I call them, just to help bring some dimension to it. If you need to put something heavy on there just to make sure that it stays down, you can do that. So I'm going to glue all these pieces together, making sure that the roof piece is on top. And I did ink some of the back ones so that way it may show, or it will show when you glue it to your paper. So instead of having to print this one double-sided too, I just inked it. Okay, so that's just creating the little lift. This is what will go inside the pocket. So this does take a little finessing the first couple times. Make sure that it doesn't stick. It's still drying, so we're going to give that one a minute because I'm pulling it up off the piece there. So we'll give that one a minute to dry and come back to that one. Now on to the back. We can just trim this one off and set this to the side. That's going to be the back. That will be the very last piece that you will do. Okay. So now for the hidden pockets on here, you can skip this step if you want and just put some fussy cuts over the cut lines if you want to. It's completely up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and cut. You'll see there's 2 lines there. Just cut them out, and what I do is I take my ruler, and I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory. I'm pretty sure you guys have probably done this before. And sometimes if you look at the back, you actually get a better idea of whether it cut all the way through or not. Now at this point, if you want to ink it, you can. I'm just going to keep moving forward for the purpose of this tutorial. The other thing you may want to do is actually put a little ink on the sides here if you wanted, because it does show through. I said I was going to skip through the ink. And here I am inking. I just didn't want to forget this part. So when you fold it, you see the ink and not the white. So we are going to glue one flap to the other. It doesn't matter which one you choose. And you just want a solid single line right on the edge. Fold that over and let that dry. Okay, so this is the second belly band for the envelopes. We're going to glue that on. And I hug it down towards the bottom. Try to keep it centered. So for this one, we are going to do 2 separate lifts on it. So I got 2 that are colored. We'll put one in the front, one in the back. And then depending on how many you want, I made it so you guys had 4. I've only been using 3, but I figured I'd throw an extra in case you guys wanted more. Where's my other colored one? There it is. Okay. So I have one of the colored, it's like a tan color one. And then I glue 3 of the white outlined ones. Am I on 2? I lost count. We will just pretend like we are. 3. And then the last one we're gonna glue on as well. And then we're just gonna rinse and repeat and do it all over again. So just trying to make sure everything lines up. This one I had inked, and then I remembered I had actually colored some of them to put on the back side so you see it. So that's why you will see ink on mine. It's not necessary. And you can use all the lifts if you want. It's completely up to you. In fact, I think I'm going to use it on the bottom one. So I will use 4 on the center of this one. And this is just to add height. It makes it a little easier to pull out, to be honest with you. Then add the colored one on here. And then there you go, you have the lifts. So this one will be the top lift and then the bottom lift. If you want to ink just to make sure that no white is showing, if you have any white showing, you can. Excuse me. So this one I'm going to put, you can do it wherever you want. If you want it right here so it folds out this way, you can. I don't mind which way it folds. I like a little variation, so I'm going to put it like this. So we're just going to glue a little bit on the top here. And I don't have this going over the flap, so this you want to leave just a little bit of a lip and center it. And then repeat the process. I'll have this one going this way. Just like that. And then this will go in here. And this one will go in here. Now we'll come back, but you can actually embellish these with different fussy cuts. Yeah, okay, so this back, this one doesn't have any folds, and we are going to center this one wherever you want it. So just kind of take a look here. I don't know if you guys can hear my tummy just growling. Okay. So that's what we got there. And we will move on. Nope, we're going to go back to this one now. So this is the B1. Make sure it's dried. Sometimes the first couple times it takes a little bit to get it in, but I want to show you guys, because I've been using this one a few times now, just for, it comes right in and out. So here's the same one, and it slides right in. So once you use it a few times, it will definitely be easier to get in and out. So just kind of work it in there. You want to make sure that your paper is within the line of the house. Get Does it showing? It's so hard to see on camera. I give props to these people that do this all the time. I don't know how you do it. Sometimes I'm just like, what the heck? How do you even see this? But then you're editing and you actually see it. So I don't know. I'm just going with it. Okay. So I just put a little glue on the back side. And I'm gonna put it on like that. We'll give that a minute to dry, and then that one should be good. Okay. So we got this one. This one's got a little bit more moving pieces. So we will start with, this is, let's just get these trimmed off. So this is the D2, and we're actually gonna start on D1. I'm just getting it cleaned up. So I will set that aside. So you will need, I'm missing a pocket. Where's my pocket? You'll have 5 pockets, and go ahead and cut this one off. I left some of the labels on just so you guys can see what they were, how I was using them. I don't know if it's helpful or not. And then you'll want these 2 right here. So, you know what? I'm going to start with the house, the door. Let's do the door. So on this one, I did provide several different, if you want to cut the peekaboo door, I have like a little boy, a little elf, just a plain old house if you want, a little girl, a little angel, and a Santa Claus. So I think this time I'm going to do the little angel girl. On my other one, I did the Santa Claus. He's cute. Okay. So for this one, this will just go right over this, and this kind of follows, this actually does follow, doesn't kind of follow, follows that line right there that I have. So we will glue and then also tape the bottom on that. Nope, we're not. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. We are going to cut out the door. Now you want to make sure to cut the side with the handle. So it will be the top, the right side, and then the bottom. Okay, so and if you don't want to do the peekaboo door, you can actually skip this part if you want. And it cut all the way through on the corners. So always check, the back side's so much easier to see if you did it all the way or not. Okay, then I just take something that's hard and use that to fold my door over. Just like that. Then we will glue, I have an extra door here that's been mirrored, and we'll glue that right on there. You can also ink this at this point if you want. Now the door is the same size as the door, but depending on how you cut it will depend on the line. So I cut mine a little bit big, so you'll see a little bit more, but that's okay. That's where the ink comes in. Alright, then we're going to tape our little, for me it's going to be my angel girl, sorry, tape. We're going to glue and then tape. So we just glue around the edges here. And just do a thin line around it. Now the girl will line up on the right side, so it should be about the same the right size for you guys. So just like that. If you have any extra glue, or if your paper's off a little bit, I'm trying to rush through it for you guys so it doesn't take forever to do, and I feel like, I don't know, I miss things a little bit. So I'm just gonna add a little tape to the top here. Oh, let me wipe my hand so I don't got glue all over my tape. And that just makes it so the paper doesn't really, doesn't catch on it, or it helps it from catching on it. So this should open, beautiful. So we are going to glue this down now and also put tape at the bottom flap right here. And like I said, this will line up with this side. And then it goes all the way to the bottom. Tiny bit of tape. And then glue the rest. Okay, so we will move on to the paper for it while that's setting up. Pick what side you want. It's going to be like this. So we will make our lifters. Okay, hopefully this is set up enough. Put it in backwards. My bad. Let's try again. And once the glue is completely dried, you'll have better movement on it. So that's where that will go. We'll just add a little ink, or a little glue. Make sure everything lines up, and then I kind of pull it out a little bit so the glue doesn't glue your paper in. So we'll just keep that like that for now. Now we're going to move on to our little flaps. And I did have a couple here. I only did 2 because it is on cardstock. We will actually glue this down first. So figure out which one is top and which one is bottom. They are directional. And this is going to line up, start with the one at the bottom. And it's going to line up pretty close to the bottom. Not all, you don't have to do it all the way down, but you got to do it pretty close. And then try your best to center it. Just like that. And then I wanted to say I did have, I do make my circles on this one. It was an 1.5 inch circle cut. So if you want to use your 1.5 inch hole punch, you can. Ink it up if you want to. So we are going to glue together our envelopes. Now for these, you're not going to glue the flap, that's the larger flap, quite yet, because that's going to be glued onto the paper. So all you want to do is glue the short side, little tiny flap, and then along that same flap, you're going to put just a very thin line of glue right there. Now I will say with this heavier cardstock, it doesn't like to stay down very well, so you may need something weighted or some paper clips to hold it in place. And then you're just going to repeat the process. So all those are glued, and you are going to take I start with the small one at the bottom, then it's going to be the medium size, so there's small, medium, and large. Okay, see that there? The two large are going to go on the right side, and the two small and medium is going to go small, medium, then small again. Now I did want to say, if you didn't want to print double-sided on these, you can take your hole punch and cut both sides out. I did that on this one. Let me show you. So up to you on how you want to do it. But we are going to keep this left side fairly close to one another. And what it's going to be is like this flap right here is going to go down towards the bottom here. And I follow this line right here. But you can follow whatever line you want. But there's just like a little ditty dot line there. And we're going to follow right past that, just like that. So you want to make sure that your stuff closes. Okay. So glue. Then you're going to take your medium one, put it right next to that one. Trying to follow a straight line here. So those are in. Now we're going to do the right side, and you're going to keep these two within the boundaries of these ones. So what I like to do is kind of figure out how much I'm going to put it in. Just like that. Okay. So glue. So for the for those, they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that, and it should all stay within the boundaries of the house, just like that. So then we add in our last flap for our tie. Make sure that it goes over it. Just like that. So now you can use the rivets, or I'm sorry, the eyelets. You can use these little ties if you want. I'm gonna stick with the ties. I always add a little extra just to be safe. I don't know how many times I've cut things too short and it was a big pain. So make sure you have these the right direction. Then you're gonna glue them together. So this one I'm actually gonna put my string inside. Trying to keep it lined up with my fronts. Then you're going to glue these two together. So this top one, you're going to glue the bottom half of it. And then this one, you're going to glue the top half of it. So we'll let that dry for a minute, and then you'll be able to use this to go up underneath here once we get everything dried up. Okay, so on to the next part, which is the back part of this. And this is the last one you'll need to cut out the pocket in. So pocket right there, grab my stuff. Okay, shouldn't need this anymore. So we will actually start, oh, here it is. I lost it for a minute. So this pocket is gonna go far left bottom corner down here. So we will glue. This into place. I do get tremors in my hands, so if you need to notice me, oh goodness, if you notice me moving a little bit, that might be why. That one was a difficult one for me to put on. I don't know what happened there. Okay. So that is in place. Then we are going to take our next part of our stuff here, and we are going to glue these two together. For that, I like to use Fabri-Tac, just because I don't want my paper to wrinkle. So this will go over just like this. And then fold it over. If you need to trim off, you can see just a smidgen of white. You can trim that off and re-ink it if you need to. Then each side is going to have a pocket. So I designed it to go this way. You can do whatever you want. So you are the boss. Clean up my mess from the Fabri-Tac. I don't need that for... Okay. Just going back to the glitter glue now. And then you're gonna glue the straight line. So a solid line of glue here and a line here. Okay, that will go right inside there. All right, so for this one, we are going to glue our lifters. All right, so we're not going to actually glue that on until it's ready to go, but we're going to glue these together. All right, so this is going to go over like this, but in order for us to know where to glue, we are going to slide this in, flip this over, and then I just kind of make a mark. You can follow the line if you want, if you got a good line, but I just like to take like a 1/2 inch or so of a line around it. And then another line down here, because you don't want the glue to glue on this spot. So you want to make sure to stay outside of that area. So I'm going to put my glitter glue down at the bottom, but then I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac for the rest. Now make sure not to glue your spine, your flaps on the edge there. And then you're going to glue this down to one another. Oh, I forgot to cut off the piece. I was like, what happened here? Make sure you cut off all your pieces. Silly me. Okay. Let's actually tie this down now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just lift this a little bit to get that under there. And I'd wait as long as you can to make sure that completely dries before you do this, because you don't want it pulling up. So mine's still kind of wet. I should probably not be doing it. So I'm going to keep it short like that. I'll save that for later. So I just want to out of my way here. So make sure your paper goes in. And the first couple times on all of these, make sure, well, one, make sure you go all the way in straight. And then I kind of leave a little bit of a flap. What is that, 3/4 of an inch or so up and out. Okay. So this will go over like this, and then this will go over like that. So, and I just want to show you guys, I feel like they look like they're hard to get in and out, but once you use them a little bit, they're pretty easy to get in and out. See? Ta-da! So, all right, so we're going to leave it like that. We're going to put a little glue on this. So right at the top there. Make sure not to glue your pieces together. Now you don't want this hanging over the top, so you're just going to go like there. Just like that. Okay, so now is the fun part where we get to put everything together. Okay. So I like to go through and just kind of maneuver these a little bit. It just makes it easier if you maneuver these a little bit when you're putting it together. And we're gonna save this piece for last. So we're gonna keep that backing off to the side there. So this is going to go just like this. Make sure to keep your spine. So we're gonna glue, this is D, the D side of everything. And I'm gonna glue the spine together. And at first I was debating on whether or not to have double pages, but because this one, I think it needs the strength of having 2 pages together. So glue those together. Then you're going to take, I guess you can actually glue it all. It doesn't matter for this one. But I like to add that fold in just because the way it moves. Okay. So once you have your glue on there, you're going to put a little glue on your, just the flat part, flap, not the spine. Goodness gracious, Deanna. Get your act together. So you will have it like this. Make sure everything stays down. Like that. Okay, so now we are going to move on to A and B flaps. So how this is going to work is you're going to want A glued down in between the B flap. So once again, I'm just gonna make sure not to glue down your spine and just the flap. And this spine is very small. Should have probably used my Fabri-Tac for this. Such a big area. Okay. Oh, this way. So we will go make sure it folds over good. Perfect. Now we're going to go onto the back. And we're going to glue down the front of the house to the inside. And this stuff is so stringy sometimes. Okay. Make sure everything is lined up. And then we're going to do the same thing to the flaps. Just rinse and repeat for each one of these. Okay. So now we have all of these, and we are going to glue B to C. So the top part of C is going to go right over B like this. So the back of it will have the flaps. It'll look like this when you're done. Just so that's off a little bit. If you need to trim it up, you can. It's not a big deal. I just don't want it to hang off the bottom. Okay, so this will glue here, but I'm going to do it from this way. Make sure everything folds appropriately. Okay, so now we are on our back, and that's where this part comes in. This is maybe C1. Sorry, I was focusing and not paying attention. So just like that. I'll actually glue from this side. Now I do leave just a tiny bit of a lip on the side, just because when I was making it, when you add these pieces in, they do show a little bit. So this is the back of the house. That is done. Okay, so after gluing down my flap, I forgot that I have a tie that I was going to put on there. So let me show you. On this one, I actually glued it down underneath. So it's still pretty simple to do. This one measures about 25 inches. And you just lay it down figure out where you want it. Make sure the top is even. And then you just glue it down in place on the other side. Like this. And then you just glue the piece over it. So I'm sorry I forgot to include that part. But let's go ahead and get our stuff ready. I had already glued these down. These are just little fussy cuts onto the lifters before I realized that I forgot the closure. I can't believe I did that. So I went ahead and glued down some fussy cuts onto here to decorate it so you can see the lifters there, and just glued it down. Same with this one. So that part's already been completed. Once again, I'm so sorry. So let's go ahead and fill in our pockets. So we'll add our lifter, or our little fold outs. And then you can go through and figure out which ones you want. I'm going to do this there. I love that one. All right, and then two 2 down here. And there's so many, you guys will have extras, whatever you guys decide. So on this side is for the envelopes. I'm not going to do all the envelopes, but I will do one because I had already done it. Because like I said, I messed up. I forgot to add it. I'm so sorry. Okay. So you can either score this or you can hand fold them. They do have the lines for you. Make sure to ink it, but I'm not going to ink it for right now just because I want to not make you guys suffer and watch through it. But the rounded top goes to the top. And then I just take these two. I figure out at the top here, I just fold it down a little bit once it's like that. I just like the look of that. So you're going to add some glue. Add some more glue. And then at the top right here, tiny bit of glue. And get your bone folder, make sure everything's nice and crisp. And those fit in perfect there. And then for the letters, I went ahead and, oops, folded it in half, inked it up, and that can go here. And then, of course, we have this. Now, if you are having issues with your paper coming in and out, push your bone folder down inside there. Now that the glue's set up, you don't want to do it too soon because it can mess up the glue, and we don't want that. So give it a nice little push down inside there, and that should help when you slide it in straight anyways. Slide it in. So it goes in nice there. Now we have our little tag here, and then originally I had made this to go behind it. You can glue that down there if you want, or this is really just suggestive. You guys can do whatever you want. And then you can put some tags. Actually, I'm gonna put the tags on this side. Right there. And then on this side, the little menu we had talked about at the beginning, I thought would look cute there. So there is that. So we will fold everything over. Now we have this part. Oh, I'd already started putting the tags in. So there's different tags for you guys to put in there. I think that's one of my favorite ones. Love it. And then okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close it up. And you guys don't have to use these little circles. I did it mostly just because some people don't have access to it, and I really want for everyone to have access to doing this kind of stuff. I use little eyelets on both of mine. So I have, and then eyelets there. So you can also use brads if you want, whatever the case may be. You can use whatever you want. Okay, so just make sure this all works. Beautiful. You got your little angel or whatever you decide to go with. And then on the front, you just want to make sure your house works. And this is the same case scenario. If you're having a hard time getting it in and out, once it's set up and dried, you guys can run like a little bone folder or even like a ruler. Just move it around a little bit. And the more you use it, the more it will be easier to do. So if you're like me and you forgot to put on your tie, you can just add it afterwards. And there we go. We got our completed little house. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, you guys take care, and we'll see you guys next time.